Welcome to another episode of Chamber Exchange. We'll have a very special guest today. It's David McCarty with the Colony Club. He's one of our members and one of the newer, it's been about a year now, establishments in downtown Gallipolis. But before we do, I just want to go over a couple things. We've had a busy month or so at the Chamber. We've had several events going on. We had the annual golf scramble. And this takes place every year, Cliffside Golf Tournament. And this year and last year, we had an interesting addition. The Tribune, they sponsored a marshmallow drive. So that's somebody driving a marshmallow. But it seemed to be a big hit. Everybody enjoyed it. So that's the second year we've done that. And the winners this year, we had, yes, that's Necco, right? Yeah, that's Necco. And then we had West Banco. Necco was first place, West Banco second place, and then AEP, and then we had an extra player of Mike Owens was third place. And every year they place, there's monetary prizes. So this happens every single year. Feel free to check back with us, usually in September. This was September 29th, and it's a great day of networking and fun. On the business end, we had an FLSA seminar recently. It was David Riepenhoff and Angel Jarmus from Fishel Haas. They're a law firm. And really the focus was the upcoming changes to the overtime requirements, the threshold. The Department of Labor recently passed down a rule that doubled the threshold to be considered a salary employee regardless of your job duties. And we had a seminar on what that would mean, what kind of changes people would need to make, businesses would need to make. And we are finding out that it is going to affect, which we thought it would locally, especially the smaller businesses, because the threshold nearly doubled. It was in the mid 20,000 mark, and now it's over 47,000. So that means that anybody that was at that threshold would now have to be considered hourly overtime, depending on how they were classified. And so that was that training, and we're watching it close because the ruling goes into effect December 1st. So we have done a few seminars on it. We've got some information going on out about it. And that's what that seminar was. It was just talking to businesses, and we had a great turnout. Those are a few of the type of things that we do each year. Then we also had our Friday event at Boston Memorial Library. This was a neat event. We normally have a quarterly First Friday event. And this year, this Friday time, we decided to take it out to one of our member businesses because they had a unique event going on, and that's the Bodies Revealed exhibit. And this exhibit has been all over the United States. I've heard people talk about that the cost to some of these exhibits, it's like $30 to get in, and it's free. It was brought here by Bossard to the Gallia County community for free. They do ask for RSVPs just because of the influx of people coming in, but it's running through, I believe it was December 31st. And it's a great exhibit. It's very eye-opening to see. So if you've not had a chance to go, they've got people coming in from all over Ohio, West Virginia, kids bust in. It's a huge thing for our area. So if you're from here and you've not had a chance to go, highly recommend it. Call the library, go ahead and make your reservation. The reservations are, like I said, it's not a cost. They're just trying to control the amount of people coming through. But when we went through it, I have to say, it was like walking into COSI. I mean, any of these regular, what I consider a museum, that's what they do. It was really weird to walk into the Riverside room, and it has been transported into this museum room, this COSI-esque like type thing. That's a word. I've said it's a word today. So those are a couple things that we are have done the last month. And we have a lot of stuff coming up. Of course, we're going to be preparing for the big shopping season, for our chamber members, helping try to get the word out of things that they have going on. And then the first of the year, annual dinner's coming up. So there's just a few of the things that we have going on. So that's enough about what we've done in the past. We're going to welcome our guest today, David McCarty. He's the owner of Colony Club.
Thank you.
And we'll start in Colony Club. For those of you who may not know, is the renovated downtown movie theater, and it was renovated into a restaurant entertainment venue.
Correct.
And so let's talk a little bit about the history of the building.
Okay.
It's been there for...
It was, and the history as we know it, meaning we, my wife, who is also a co-owner, and so this is how I want to kind of start with that. It may be not completely accurate because it's a lot of word of mouth, like
right.
a lot of things are in a small town, but it was built in 1937, from what we understand, and by the Wheeler family, which was, the Wheeler family was involved in the Gallipolis Theater, which is now the Ariel Theater, and they went out and built this on their own, from what we understand, along with the drive-in that was up at Canoga, and they owned and operated it as a movie theater clear up until the 1990s. It was 3 generations where it eventually closed. I don't know exactly what date it closed on, and then the actual building changed hands several times, kind of fell on disrepair when a group of local Gallipolis people bought it to renovate and do something with. Didn't really set out, had no exact plans when we approached them about our concept of what we were going to do.
And we do have several before pictures because it did sit empty for a really long time. So you know what it's like anytime buildings sit empty. So was this what you walked into when you first started?
Exactly. We found it in disrepair. It had a major roof leak in it for many years. A lot of the stuff, the seats, were already gone. Some of the demolition because of mold and that kind of stuff had already started to take place, just so that the developers could try to show it and figure out what to do with it. They started the cleanup process and then and so that's how we found it. A lot of work to be done. When we set out to do this, obviously as a small business, our budget was very limited, so we kind of tried to take the minimalist approach with it.
And you've left a lot of that with the renovation, the
Correct.
brick, right, and then the tapestries. Can we go back to which I think are neat?
Yes.
Those were originally in, and you came
Correct.
across them,
and,
right?
And they kind of have a unique story with them that I like to tell. The original theater, built in 1937, had fabrics all over the wall and an actual operating curtain that would close across the screen. But being that it was built in 1937, it went through several renovations over the years. And those are not the original tapestries from 1937, but something they did a little unique, and I think very creatively. Instead of buying new tapestries, they actually hired a local artist by the name of Brad Painter to recreate those in the 80s. So that's actually painted, airbrushed on, and copied the original ones.
And Brad Painter's done a lot around Gallia
town.
County,
Yes.
or especially, Gallipolis and Gallia County.
Yeah.
And so he did.
Yeah, he's actually stopped in and saw them. Their signed works. And
Really?
Yeah, so that's kind of a unique local touch to the place. Like I said, the original theater had some of the old equipment in it, which the building owners have since taken out. The fabrics, of course, were ruined, and that's why we went with the exposed brick. They were already gone when we got there for the most part, and so we were left with kind of a blank slate, I guess, to start with.
Okay, and it does have that kind of industrial type, and I think there's a sketch where.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a rendering of, was that what you were looking at when you do it, or is this after the fact?
No, we actually had this drawn up by another local artist to try to get a feel for what we were envisioning, what it might look like in there.
Okay, and it basically looks like that. I mean,
Yeah, he did a really good job.
so
Yeah. So what we did is, the construction process was actually handled by the landlord, which made it really easy for us and actually made it viable for us as a small business to kind of roll the majority of that cost into the lease, which makes our rent a little bit more expensive, but it was a way for us to make it happen. So a lot of the headaches that some people experience with construction, the landlord took care of for us.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So they basically renovated it to fit what you wanted.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so, when we went in there, we basically leveled the floor halfway through there, which allowed us to put in a brand new kitchen, brand new bathrooms, give us a dining area, and then we divided the space in half from an entertainment venue to and then a traditional restaurant, which we are a traditional restaurant that does entertainment. We're not a movie theater that serves food, and therefore we're open 5 days a week for lunch and dinner.
Okay. Well, we'll definitely talk about food here in a minute.
Yeah.
There's the brick oven pizzas. They're so good. Let's talk a little bit before we get to because you are a restaurant, but you also do events. And
Right.
let's talk a little bit about the events. You've had a wide variety already in the year.
Yes.
You had the OU Jazz Band and the local jazz band played together.
Correct.
That was neat. That was just a really neat, laid-back evening. But you've also done some fundraising events. So talk a little bit about that.
One thing we set out to be was diverse. We've done everything from stand-up comedy. There's a stage in front of the screen, to fundraising bingo events, to birthday parties, to wedding receptions, private fundraising parties, along with traditional movies. That right there was for the Downtown Revitalization Project. It was actually a bingo that helped them raise quite a bit of money to go towards downtown, and it was a full house. It was a fun night. We're set up to where when we do events, we can serve food via counter service, and then we also have a full service bar that allows us to do a lot of things at one time. And like I said, one thing we set out to do was be flexible and be diverse in the type of entertainment we do. For instance, last weekend we did stand-up comedy, which was a good time. Most of this stuff, we create events on Facebook and that kind of stuff if you want to keep track of what's all going on at the colony.
And it's very diverse. I mean, it'd be hard, different type of movies. You have some classic movies that show, and we had talked a little bit before we started about the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and you had shadow.
We did. We worked with a production group, and we did shadow casting, which is where actors act out and lip sync the movie while the movie is going on in the background, and their shadow casts up onto the movie screen. And it was a really good time, and we plan on having more shows like that. It's kind of a mixture between theater and movies, and it was really fun.
And so let's go on to the food,
Yeah.
because you are a restaurant.
Yes,
That's
we
your
are.
number one thing.
Yes.
Is your
Yes.
and we were talking too before the show, the tacos. I had those yesterday, and they are so good. But so we have some still shots of some of the food preparation. Of course, there's your
That's
your
kitchen.
kitchen.
And our kitchen is somewhat small, but what we set out to do with the food side of our business was to try to offer a small town options. So we try to keep our menu a little diverse and a little bit different from what we already offer in town. So you'll see stuff like Asian noodle bowls, the Mission burrito, wraps. We do some entrees, some maple bourbon glazed salmon, and then we have a brick oven for pizzas. We set out to make as much as we can fresh. We bring stuff in our seafood in from Columbus, fresh every week. We work with some local vendors and try to offer unique things that a lot of small towns don't necessarily have.
And the brick oven pizzas are, I mean,
Yeah, we make.
they're good. Then they're small, so
Right.
they're good for lunches or.
Yeah, we make one size. It's a personal size pizza, and we make everything from scratch, from the pizza dough to the sauce. And we try to buy the freshest ingredients that we
That's
can.
the margarita one, right?
That's the margarita pizza. It's
I
very
may or may
popular.
not have had that a few times
Yes.
too. So.
So fresh, local. That's some of our big goals for the food side.
And you recently hired on a new chef. Well, I mean, it's been a little while
Yeah,
now.
in
but
May we were fortunate enough to pick up Derek Sorosky. He and his family have moved back to the area to live on a farm, actually just a few miles from Rio Grande, and with a goal that as a classically trained chef and his future wife as a classically trained pastry chef, they have started a business by the name of Taproot Farms, and they do baked goods and other more catering type stuff. But we have kind of developed a partnership with him in order to take our food in a new direction. He classically trained at Le Cordon Bleu in Pittsburgh, worked at a 5-star, 5-diamond resort, Nemacolin of the Woods in Pennsylvania. So he understands what our goal is with fresh and quality and trying to offer different types of food for Gallipolis. And that partnership with him in the kitchen has really gone good.
And you've developed partnerships with several because
Yes.
Greenlee Family Farm, which is
Right.
a local farm.
Our burgers, which is something that people ask that we do. People love their hamburgers. We set out to do something that's just a little bit different. Our hamburger comes from it's a local farm. It's Greenlee Family Farms. It's grass-fed, hormone-free, and it's a high-quality product. Another partnership we have is with Steve Evans Sausage. We offer a traditional sausage sandwich for Gallia County, something that Bob Evans Farms started with years ago, and he asked that maybe we consider doing that, and we've taken that on board. We also work with R&C Packing to buy other beef. We do some different short rib dishes where it's braised for a long time, and something a little different you won't find on any other menu in town.
So why do you feel partnerships with other local entities are important? I know that sounds
Yeah.
like a total, you should know that answer, but it's
Right.
always good to talk about it. You
Yeah.
don't see that as much.
Yeah, one thing as a small business, I think that it helps when you work together. I mentioned earlier that one of our goals is to work local and work fresh, and therefore we, in order to get fresh ingredients, we can't be bringing them, across country. So we, in our area, like most areas, don't have readily available options. You have to kind of develop those options for fresh local ingredients, and that's what we set out with these partnerships. And we want to expand our partnerships. I think in the very near future, we're going to take our partnership with Taproot Farms. They live on their farm is close to 300 acres, and I think you'll see our partnership with them expand along with others.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're about a year in now,
Yes.
almost, right? What was your anniversary, November?
November 12th was
12th.
our first,
Okay.
was our opening date.
Yeah, so, you're coming up at the end of your year. So what kind of future plans, well, first of all, is there anything you've learned over the last year you want to talk about? And then what kind of future plans do you see?
Well, one thing I've learned is that marketing seems to be the most difficult part of our business, and I suspect with any small business in a small community, and it's a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. So that's something that we've learned, more what doesn't work than what does work. But so we're out there trying to remind everybody, hey, we are an option in town for for not only lunch and dinner, but entertainment, special occasions, that kind of thing. And I think as we move forward, I think you'll see our diversity, will expand into some different markets that maybe we don't have downtown, and we'll also see that our entertainment, special events, try to expand on those. Those have been extremely successful for us. I think they've been fun for the community, give somebody something to do, relatively inexpensive. Most of our shows are either free, or comedy night was only $5 to get in.
Right.
So, and you didn't have to drive an hour one way to see these things. So I think we'll try to expand that part of our business. And always, from the food side, one of our things we always set out to do was not to be stagnant. So our menu will change. We'll become more seasonable, and also as our partnerships grow, we get more local suppliers and vendors and stuff like that. I think you'll see us see the menu change.
I'm excited to see what kind of things you all have. Every time you get something new on the menu, it's good. I mean, it just is.
Yeah.
And let's talk a little bit. We have a few more minutes
Yep.
left, so let's talk a little bit about the space being available for special events. I
Yeah.
don't think a lot of times people think about a restaurant being available to them to
Right.
rent.
Right.
So talk a little bit
Yeah.
about how somebody would make contact with you to maybe
Yeah.
rent it.
Yeah.
What's offered with
Yeah.
it.
The best way to kind of follow what's going on at the Colony is to, basically our Facebook page. Our Facebook page has been our biggest friend. A lot of times we'll create events on there and everything, and all our contact information, phone number, email address is all on there at Colony Gallipolis, if you search for that. As far as booking our event or booking an event at the Colony, just contact us. We treat things as a couple different types of events. Sometimes for birthday parties and smaller events where the restaurant remains open, there is no charge for that. Just as long as you contact us ahead of time, we can set up tables and chairs, and then then it becomes just the cost of food or whatever you want us to provide for you. Private events are a little different. We quote them basically based on what day of the week you want it, what you want us to provide, and so we don't have a set standard price to rent it. We believe this makes it a little more affordable for people. If you're a little bit more flexible on when you want to have your event, then we try to work with you and keep it affordable.
So, and this is your first. Is this your first business?
This is my
Okay.
wife and I's first business.
Okay, so
So we're learning as we go.
and I think that's great.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep. We're learning as we go. It's been a year of ups and downs, and like I think any small business or venture of that size is. So.
well, welcome to entrepreneurism,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
And I think it's great. People like you and Karen is your wife too.
Yes.
We keep saying, but.
Yeah.
You are what makes the next thing happen.
Right.
Those people who are willing to step out on their own and say, I'm going to be a business owner.
Right.
So we appreciate it. I think everybody in downtown Gallipolis. I mean, we're seeing a lot of growth in the downtown Gallipolis area.
I think it feeds off of each other.
Yes.
I mean, I see some small businesses that have opened up downtown in the last few years, and I think our business hopefully will inspire other businesses, and I think that the more that's done, hopefully will lead to more things that will be done downtown.
Well, before we wrap up, tell everybody how they can, where you're located, how they can find
We are
you.
located at 418 2nd Avenue, which is one block north of the park. You can't miss the big marquee out front, and the biggest thing, or the easiest way, is probably follow us on Facebook.
Okay. And that's, and then I definitely, like I said, please stop by, check it out. just stop in and see what they've done. It's a really neat feel when you walk in. You have the theater seating still,
Yep.
but you have tables there so people can eat.
Yep.
And then there's a whole separate area up top with tables and even though the movie theater screen is running, the sound's not always up.
Correct.
So, you're just kind of, you barely hear it in the background. So you can either watch it or sit with family and friends and have a meal. So it's a really unique location. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations on almost making it a year. Yeah, you're almost there.
Yes.
It seems like that's always been a milestone for any business, get through that first year. But.
Yep.
And that's it for today. I want to thank David
Thank you.
McCarty for with the Colony Club for joining me today. And of course, we'll be back next month with another guest who's a chamber member and update you on things that we're doing. And as always, if you're a business owner and you're interested in joining the chamber, feel free to call us at 740-446-0596. And our website is galliacounty.org. You can find listings of our members on our website. We have a little over 200 now, I believe, is where we're at. And that's great for our size. We cover all of Gallia County. We're not just the Gallipolis chamber, which is what originally started. So if you're interested, we would love to have you. You don't need to wait for an invitation. This is your invitation to give us a call. We have group discounts. We do things like this. We have advertisements. We share on our social media pages. We try to help the business. So please feel free to call us or email me at mmiller@galliacounty.org. My name is Michelle Miller. I'm Executive Director of the Chamber of Commerce. And my guest today was David McCarty with the Colony Club. So thank you very much.